Roses are plenty, violets are vast. Valentine horror on Attack of the Killer podcast. You try rhyming podcast.
Attention planet Earth and beyond. Stay tuned for Attack of the Killer podcast. 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 That's time for the show. Yay.
What?
You smell that? Love is in the air. Or is that smell from the sewage plant? I don't know. It's kind of the same. This is episode 360 of Attack of the Killer podcast, and I am your host, Insane Mike, and we have a great show for you. Let's pretend this episode came out a few weeks ago as we discuss Valentine's horror. It would just be Valentine, right? Not Valentine's.
I believe. Let's go to Brian for a ruling.
What?
Yes, that's a yes.
Exactly. Okay. If this is your first time listening to the show, Attack of the Killer podcast is a horror movie podcast where a group of friends get together and talk about horror movies. We pick a topic, we discuss films within that topic, and we're just friends hanging out, talking freely about movies, so there may be spoilers. Now, if you like our show, I would ask a big, big favor. Would you please join our Patreon? We would really love it if you did. We might even put out. When you join our Patreon, you become part of the Killer Podcast family known to the world as the Attackers. As an attacker, you get access to all kinds of perks and extra content. One of the perks you get is our bonus episode. Now, the bonus episodes come out on the opposite weeks of the regular show, so that way you get Attack of the Killer podcast every single week. Or you can watch those bonus episodes live as we record them. Check your local listings for when that happens. So yeah, and you can even join in on the conversation when we do those live. Yeah. Our next upcoming bonus episode, we will be talking about our ideas for a different holiday-themed horror movie and what that movie would be. Which holiday would we pick, and what would the movie be? There's some great movie pitches in there. You need to check it out. And you can do that by going to jointheattackers.com. Go there and pick the tier that best suits you to get to the content you want. Other things you can get as an attacker is like you can pick, pick movie picks for our Patreon picks episode, or pick a film for our watch parties. We just had our latest watch party, and attacker Tony Miller picked The Coffee Table. That's the level.
Thanks, Tony.
You can mess with all of us for the watch parties.
Greatest comedy of 2024.
So there's all kinds of stuff you can get. So much more that you can get by being part of the Attack of the Killer podcast family. But don't just take my word for it. Just listen to these attackers right here.
Timothy Lenner, Roman Doppelfeld, Larry Watanabe, Brett J. Royer, Jessica Irish, Chris Cook, Brian Godsell, Stefan Zitter, Brandy Moore, Andrew Mahler, Rodney Dean, Hutchinson Jr., Carmen DeHague, Abraham Ariano, Andrew Bentler, Casey Kelderman, Tony Miller, Mike Clayton, Rose Talashoma, Abe Kirshner, Lisa Cavalier, Holly Berg, Bill Fisher, Greg Dedrick, Sam Lenz, Garth Jacobson, Brett White, Tiffany Deweese, Scott Reebsman, Chris Collins, and Jacob McLaughlin.
You too can be on that list, and all you got to do, again, is go to jointheattackers.com. And now it's time to introduce you to my special Valentines, the podcast crew. He brought a broom on his first date with Terry because he wanted to sweep her off her feet. Brian.
Hello, everyone.
His favorite pickup line that got him a date with Tiffany is, "Are you a parking ticket? Because you've got fine written all over you."
Oh, yeah.
Jason.
That sounds like something I'd try to say. Anyway, thanks everyone for tuning in. Glad you're here.
When he got married, his family forced him not only to have a full ceremony, but also only serve pineapple and watermelon. They absolutely cantaloupe. Tad.
Hey, guys. Thanks for listening.
You're welcome, Tad. You got the best one.
Okay.
Our topic is about Valentine's Day, which has a lot to do with love. And one of the things we love is to watch movies and TV shows. So let's find out what we've all been watching. Here's Tad with what we watched.
Well, let's go to our resident love and romance movie expert, Brian Clark. What have you watched?
I was getting ready too.
Jason
I'm like,
leaned
here
into
we
the
go.
mic.
Oh, come on. It's Tad. It was going to be a switcheroo. Yep. Hey, Mike, have you ever seen a movie called Ninja Academy?
No, but I want to now.
Well, so imagine if Nico Mastorakis, the guy who made Island of Death, one of the most brutal and repugnant exploitation movies ever made, decided to cash in on the ninja craze about 5 to 8 years too late by making a Police Academy knockoff with ninjas.
It kind of sounds amazing. I just hope there's a lot less goat fucking in it.
It lives up to none of the things I just said. It is very bland. It does have Gerald, God, the man of many weapons, the guy who's like Lopan's right hand man in Big Trouble in Little China.
Okay,
he's in it for a little bit. That's about all it's got going for it. I put in an order to, don't mind where I got these, but Sayonara Jupiter, which is a weird-ass tokusatsu version of 2001: A Space Odyssey. It's kind of a lousy mess of a movie, but the effects by Koichi Kawakita, who would go on to work on all of the Heisei Godzilla movies, look absolutely incredible. And there's this sort of giant whale. So like the idea is that our sun is dying and we need to kickstart a new one because humanity is moving to the outskirts of the solar system because Earth is dying. And so they're getting too far away from the sun. And so they need to start a new sun closer to where they're moving. So they're looking into igniting the gas that composes Jupiter and turning that into the new sun. But there's a creature that lives in the lower layers of Jupiter's atmosphere called the Jupiter ghost, and it's this big biomechanical whale that makes whale noises, but those noises were then repurposed to be Biolante's roar in Godzilla vs. Biolante. And then also Submersion of Japan, which is a fantastic 70s disaster flick. It's like 2.5 hours long, like
nice.
A lot of Irwin Allen movies are, but it is the source of many very familiar looking destruction shots, like cities crumbling and water pouring through streets and that kind of thing. The basic idea is tectonic plate subduction threatens to suck Japan into the Earth's mantle. So can they stave off disaster long enough to evacuate the islands? A bunch of Hong Kong movies got added to Shudder recently, almost all of which are from the Shaw Brothers Volume 4 box set.
Oh, yeah, I was going to ask you if you noticed that. There's so many great movies on there.
Yeah, it's basically like 75% of that Shawscope Volume 4 set is now on Shudder.
Super
sans
awesome.
Extra features, of course. But along with all of those from that one source came another one called Evil Cat, which looks like a shitty VHS rip. And it's a blast. It's sort of like Kung Fu Life Force, but with no nudity. But they use the exact same, in Life Force at the end of the movie, the effect they use of that sort of weird glowing energy that swoops in and out of things.
Yeah.
Like they use that exact same effect in this movie. So that's where I made the kind of connection. It's about this body hopping cat demon. It's pretty cool.
I started watching it, but I didn't get a chance to finich it.
Oh yeah, go back and finish it. It's a lot of fun.
Oh, I can't wait. I was loving every second. And yes, you talk about like the shitty quality. There's an aesthetic of that, especially with movies, with those type of movies, that bad audio and grainy look that I just love. And I think it just boils back to my bootlegging days when I saw a lot of that Shaw Brothers stuff back then.
For sure. And I don't think this isn't even a Shaw Brothers movie.
No, I noticed
all
that,
all the Shaw movies are in like this gorgeous high def, which And it's neat to see these movies as they were meant to be seen, with the colors as bright and sharp as they were originally. Because like Hong Kong movies, especially Shaw Brothers films, are extremely colorful but like you said, there's also some charm of watching something even modern day 1080p streaming, and it still looks like you're watching it through a sheet of cheesecloth.
Yep.
We watched Rental Family. That doesn't seem like something I would watch. So see, I did
Brendan
watch something,
Fraser?
Tad. I ruined your joke. But I was not expecting to be moved to tears by the guy who bared his ass in Godzilla versus Space Godzilla, but there it is. Akira Imoto plays an older guy who Brendan Fraser's character is spending a lot of time with, and he's like he signs up for this service where people can rent him out to be a member of their family, so in this case he's hanging out with this old jazz musician pretending to be a journalist, so kind of giving his life some meaning as he nears the end of it. And it was really good. I mean, it's very sweet, it's very schmaltzy. It's
in my queue. I can't wait to watch it.
Yeah, you'll love it, Jason. I know you'll love it. Like it's just standard Oscar bait, emotionally manipulative drama, but sometimes that stuff just works. This one doesn't really shoot for anything deeper than what it is, and it's nice. It's nice to watch nice things sometimes. Just again, not a thing that you would think I would. Yeah, exactly. So just a few more here. Iron Angels 3. I finally finished watching that box set that Vinegar Syndrome put out a while ago. I watched the first two. They're just crazy ass action movies. And then I kept hearing everyone say the third one sucked, so I was kind of putting it off watching it. And while it definitely suffers from a lack of Moon Lee, she does have a couple of great fight scenes, including one where she beats the ass of like 36 palace guards at once. And I think it was this movie, the reason that she's not in it very much, one of the stunts put her out of commission. Like she jumped out of a tower and landed and fucked up her leg, and so she couldn't be in it as much. But the climactic fight scene is wild. And I got back into my Al Adamson box set. I'm thinking I might shoot for making him my Letterboxd most watched director this year.
Well, good luck with that.
Because there's a bunch of movies in that set. Because I've watched like all of his horror stuff, but all of like the biker movies and the sexploitation stuff I'd never really seen before, other than maybe one here and there. So if I plow through everything else in that set, he's probably going to be. But I watched Blazing Stewardesses. And this is Al trying to cash in on the popularity of both Blazing Saddles and the Naughty Stewardess softcore movies, and totally failing at both. So, like, some stewardesses go to a dude ranch for vacation. That's where the blazing part comes in. And the Ritz brothers are in it, and they are charmingly unfunny. They come very close to wearing out their welcome, but they're not on screen quite enough to do that. But they're like a cut rate... I don't know, Abbott and Costello, kind of like the cheesy old Borscht Belt vaudeville jokes. But I watched that to cleanse my brain after being absolutely blindsided by the rare blue apes of Cannibal Isle. So this is a completely demented children's musical shot in Malaysia, and it was thought to have been lost for a long time, but Vinegar Syndrome dug it up, and it's in their Lost Picture Show box set, which I highly recommend picking up for anyone who likes weirdo psychotronic movies, by the way. But it's like, and I'd heard of its reputation, and that still didn't prepare me for it. And of all of the things... Of all of the movies that Terry has woken up in the middle of to go upstairs to go to bed, none of them have been remotely as hard to explain as this. Because she woke up in the middle of one of the musical numbers where a guy wearing a blue, like, plushy ape suit with an animatronic mouth is singing a song to a small child about what great fun it is to be a rare blue ape. And I haven't been able to get this fucking song out of my head since I watched it.
I'm going to have to check it out. It's on Tubi. I've came across it on Tubi and almost pulled the trigger several times because I thought it was a kid's movie with the word cannibal in the title. So I'm intrigued.
It's a shame you don't partake of things because, oh boy. And then for Valentine's Day, we did Cinema Stomp, and they showed Reanimator, which is
fun.
like one of my top 10 favorite movies of all time. So that was a good time had by all. Next.
All right, let's go to the real romance movie watcher, Mike.
He fell for it again, folks.
Too easy.
All right, I only got a couple, but I worry I might talk about them a bit long, so I only went with a couple. So I watched for the first time, and don't know why I ever sat so long on watching this movie, but Living in Oblivion from 1995 stars Steve Buscemi as this director. It's this comedy about this chaotic production of this low-budget independent film. Buscemi's the director who's trying to finish this movie, but it's plagued with difficult actors, crew, bad catering, technical mishaps. It's really funny, and it's a movie about making movies, and it's shot very like they must be. I don't know what it was shot on, but I think it was a lesser quality film stock. If it is 35, it almost looks like it could be like maybe a high-end 16, but
Peter Dinklage.
but yep, Peter Dinklage is in it. Dermot Mulroney, I can never say his name. It's also got Catherine Kenner in it, so it's got a really cool cast, like a mostly like a cast of like before they were type of people, which is great. But yeah, it obviously is like in New York, and it has a lot of like these New York guys from that time period in this movie, so it kind of has that New York aesthetic that I love so much, especially from like the no wave movement. But yeah, it's just, and if you've ever tried to make a movie, it's just absolutely hilarious. It's probably my favorite thing now that Steve Buscemi's ever done, and that's saying a lot.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, and the movie is like almost 50% dream sequences. Like a bunch of chaotic stuff happens one day on the film set, and then somebody wakes up and it was just a dream. So it makes for like half of the movie being an unreliable narrative, and which is not a deal breaker because what's happening in those moments is great. I just don't know why they felt the need to do them in dream sequences. I need to study more up on this film to try to figure that part out. Because it leaves you wondering what's real and what's not real, which makes there's like a big breakdown moment that Steve Buscemi has towards the end of the movie, and is like, is this breakdown moment validated? Because is he just freaking out because of this one tragic event that's happening right now in his movie, or is it stacked on to everything else that we've seen? But how much of that was real? So anyway, it kind of messes with you a little bit, and that kind of takes you out a little bit. So I kind of wish the dream sequence, it wasn't dream sequences, that it was all just reality of the movie. The Peter Dinklage scene is really great, and that happens towards the end of the movie. It's like their final day of shooting, where the main character is having like within the movie is having a dream sequence of herself, like. And Peter Dinklage in this blue tuxedo and top hat comes through a door and circles around her with an apple. And Peter Dinklage freaks out and goes on this rant about casting a dwarf in a dream sequence being extremely cliche. So I don't know if he's poking fun, if the filmmaker's poking fun at David Lynch at all, but that's kind of what it felt like to me, because that's obviously the first thing I go in my mind as far as dwarves in dream sequences. So yeah, it's a great movie. Nobody else has ever seen it. Am I the only one?
No, and this is where to watch?
It's on Tubi.
Tubi.
Yeah,
Okay.
and you could probably find better copies of it somewhere. But I highly recommend it. I had a lot of fun with it. It's from 1995, so it's early Buscemi. It's early. It was
It's
quite
real
literally
early Peter Dinklage.
Yeah, it was, I think in the trivia I read about it, it literally said it was Peter Dinklage's first film. So, the other thing, damn it, Brian,
Uh-oh.
what have you done to me?
Uh-oh. Should I be excited?
You should be excited and in fear and scared for me at the same time, because I finally watched Threads.
Hell yes. Did it fuck you up as bad as it did me?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's such a dark film. But I feel like it's a masterclass, though, in how to
Oh,
truly
yeah.
make a disturbing and terrifying film on an apocalyptic scale with very little money, because it comes off very cheap looking. I don't know if that's the right way of saying it, but all of that just adds so much to the realism of the piece, though. You know what I'm
Yeah, because
saying?
it really plays up the not squalor, because Sheffield isn't like a poor town, but just like the real blue collar, mid to lower class working people. Like, yeah, it's just a kind of a grimy looking thing, and it also helps the verisimilitude when the town you're shooting lets you blow up like several blocks of the town for real.
Yeah. But even before the bombs drop, like all that stuff just looks almost abysmal as well. Like it's just
Well, a lot of that stuff was the buildings they were going to blow up. Like, they just let them use all those buildings, so they went in and dressed them up to use as sets, and then
But did
blew
they
them up when
dress
they
them
were done.
up?
Well, no.
So one of my biggest pet peeves in film, in independent film, in no budget filmmaking especially, is setting your camera directly pointing towards outside light, like a open window or walking through a doorway, and because it blows everything out. You can't see anything because it's such a contrast of light from the outside to the inside, and it's just amateurish filmmaking to me, and it drives me nuts every time I see it. Chris Seaver, you know what I'm talking about, But there's a moment in this that kind of feels like it almost worked, and it's towards the beginning, and it is in one of those houses that doesn't look like it's dressed very well. It almost looks like a slum, but it's this family's home, and there's people that are coming in from the outside, and it's in this little hallway, and you just can't see anything. Everything is black except for what is literally coming through that light. So you're just making out silhouettes and stuff, and it's such a throwaway little moment. Like, why would you even spend time talking about it? But I just feel like it kind of adds to the whole doom and gloom of the pending doom that's coming with this film. But oh man,
Well, and that kind of echoes the moment later where when the bomb hits and the dad from that family is like getting up off the toilet, and you get that blinding flash of light through the window.
Yeah.
It's like kind of foreshadowing that.
yeah.
And one of the things that freaked me out the most about that movie is when the bomb hits and for like 5 straight minutes, there's nothing on the soundtrack but people screaming. But you don't see, I mean, you do a little bit crowds of people screaming, but a lot of the screaming you hear is while one or two characters are looking out a window or holding each other or something. And it really gets across the idea that what you are hearing is literally this entire city of 100,000 or however many people all screaming in just absolute gut-wrenching existential fear all at the same time, and they're so loud that they can hear it over the explosion.
Yeah. Oh, it's so. Oh man, it's such a. And
What convinced you to finally pull the trigger on that one?
I've had it on my list like forever, even before, because I mean I've heard about it before you ever brought it up, so it's been on my list forever. But, and I tried watching it at one point way too late at night and fell asleep. So
Sure.
it's like, okay, this is finally it.
He was having a good day, and he was like, I can't do this.
Oh, I don't know. I love apocalyptic movies like that, especially movies that start before the apocalypse, and you have to live through the apocalypse with the film. But this one, there's no levity. There's no. It's just showing the reality of what would happen if the bombs did fall, and it is heartbreaking and gut wrenching. And the fact that before the bombs drop, we're following almost Texas Chainsaw Massacre style these mundane scenes of these regular people living their lives, and then we continue to follow them after the bomb drops, and just never getting a break as they just slowly die from radiation poisoning and famine, whatever else, and how when a lot of these people die that we see, it's just so unceremonious, and 9 times out of 10 we don't see the moments of death. It's like it's those people in the office. Yeah, we don't see them for a while, and then when the military, whoever, are going through the building, and just everybody's just dead.
Well, yeah, because that's like the command bunker for like the local government, and by the time they dig them out, they've all suffocated.
Yep. And then just the shots of these dead bodies is also just utter horrifying. That will haunt your dreams. Like, they did such a good job with the dead bodies in this, whether it's just like half-burned people in the streets or these characters that we've been following, just almost unrecognizable, wide-eyed, dead husks of human flesh just laying in the rubble. Oh, and then that poor woman that we are literally following through most of the movie. Anyway, yeah, I thought you'd be excited to know that I finally watched it, and I loved it. Loved it.
All right. Well, Jason, did you watch Threads as well?
No.
Whim.
I figured you'd like introduce yourself or something. I was zoning out there. Yeah, I actually watched quite a few lovey-dovey movies. Haha, so there, shut it. And maybe my favorite, and I've been so excited to finally watch it, Is This Thing On?
Nice.
Written and starring Will Arnett, who I love a lot.
Directed by Bradley Cooper, right?
Yep, Bradley Cooper wrote it, or helped write and directed it, and he's got a little bit part in it that's amazing and hilarious. And I'm a big fan of Smartless podcast, which is hilarious, which is Jason Bateman, Sean Hayes, and Will Arnett, and Sean Hayes is in it.
Cool.
A little bit too, and gosh dang, it's so good. As their marriage quietly unravels, Alex faces middle age and an impending divorce, seeking new purpose in the New York comedy scene, while Tess confronts the sacrifices she made for the family, forcing them to navigate co-parenting identity and whether love can take a new form. Will Arnett, he's getting a divorce and he just kind of walks into a comedy club and didn't want to pay the cover, and they're like, well, if you go on, it doesn't cost anything. So he's like, okay, I'll do that. And then he just gets up there, and it's some of the most awkwardly depressing, funny stuff. I mean, it's Will Arnett, and he's really good at it. And so a good chunk of the movie is him doing stand-up, and it's just great. He's awesome, and it's really damn good. Really damn good.
The premise sort of makes me think of, was it Crashing? Did you see that?
I can't remember that.
He had Pete Holmes, and he was the same situation. He was divorcing
yeah.
Lap Kiss, and
Yep.
that's where he started doing stand-up, and yeah. But I haven't seen it yet, but I want to see it.
I watched another one about this guy who really loves table tennis. It's called Marty Supreme.
Yeah.
It was awesome. Timothy Chalamet, Gwyneth Paltrow. It was awesome. The Safdie directed it, so it's like very kinetic, fast-paced, almost documentary.
Really weird casting.
Really weird casting. I didn't think it was, nearly. I'm trying to get nearly as bad as like Uncut Gems, but it's
for the anxiety,
like
not quite as anxiety-inducing or intense, but still really good.
I kind of hated the ending.
Yeah, that's been like a thing. And did you hear what the original ending was going to be?
No.
he was going to be a vampire.
Well, when
So
the
appreciate
head
the
of
ending we got.
Yeah, well, I guess. I mean, it pretends to go that way with the top. When the big boss man comes over and tries to. Anyway, it was great. Thanks to Tad's recommendation, we watched a movie where some guys love doing their job. It's called The Rip. It's
Yeah.
yeah, Ben and Matt back together
Matt
again.
Damon.
Stephen Yoon's in it. Kyle Chan. It's fucking great. I mean, a very intense action film. I loved it. And then lastly, we did. I guess you'd call it a limited series, maybe. I think it was 6 episodes. And I believe it was on Netflix, starring Tessa Thompson and John Bernthal, who was awesome. It's called His and Hers, and it's a little crime drama, wonderfully written. Like, it keeps you guessing until the end, and you just will never, ever, ever see it coming. It's so smart and fun and crime mystery. So 6 episodes. It's highly, highly recommended.
I could take or leave John Bernthal, but you had me at Tessa Thompson.
Yeah, they're the 2 leads in it, and I forgot how much like John Bernthal reminds me of Flyboy. They're like,
No.
they really look, and in this too, and I don't know, he acts his ass off in this one, so I know, but I understand. Anyway, hey, that's what I watched. What about you, Ted? What have you been watching?
So much. If you follow me on Letterboxd, it's overwhelming. I've been busy doing movie watching. So since we last recorded, what's that?
I said, "What are you, me?"
Yeah, I know. Well,
I
we
read
did
about
have
a third of my letterbox list tonight.
Well, since we last recorded, we had a Friday the 13th, so I indulged in some Friday the 13th movies. Rewatched Manhattan, Jason Goes to Hell, Part 2, and Final Chapter. All lovely. I did some extra credit for this episode, and I watched the 2009 My Bloody Valentine reboot in 3D, but I forgot how bad the Blu-ray's anaglyphic 3D was. It came with those like crappy Saw 4 glasses. It's pretty unwatchable.
That's rough. Yeah.
I guess I had to like look it up, and there is like a real 3D version if you have, the whole 3D TV and stuff. And I debated on like texting Blake and being like, "Hey, can I come over? Because I'm sure he has it and it would be worth it." But I still like the remake quite a bit. It's really enjoyable. It's a lot of fun. I will talk about this later in the episode, but it was part of a marathon on the holiday, and it was pretty fun to do like 4 movies back to back. And then to follow that up, as I've joked last several episodes, it is award season, so I have been binging the Oscar movies, sort of like we do for the year-end episode, but with Oscar movies, and it's like the other end of the spectrum. But it's sort of funny looking at my Letterboxd. It's like Oscar, 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 the coffee table, Oscar, Oscar, Oscar. I will just sort of blaze through these because if you want to hear more about them, tune into First Time Podcast because we'll be doing our Oscar episode soon. But Sentimental Value is the quintessential Oscar bait movie with Skarsgård and a Fanning, and I didn't love it. It's just sort of a boring Oscar movie. And I feel like everything that I'm checking off my list now for Oscars that I hadn't already seen, like, Sinners, Weapons, One Battle After Another, like, I watched them in the wrong order because I watched all the ones I wanted to see. Now I'm watching the ones out of, like, necessity, and I'm just like, oh, my gosh. F1, it was fine. Brad Pitt and yeah, it's a little long, though. Train Dreams was really good, actually. I think, Jason, have you seen Train Dreams yet?
No.
You will like this one because it's sad and it's a love story, and it's, but it's really well done. Interesting. There's a narrator over the whole thing. I watched If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You with Rose Byrne. She's so fucking great. The movie itself was really sad and depressing, but it has Conan O'Brien in it and A$AP Rocky.
It's in my queue. Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't what I was expecting, and it's interesting because like everybody keeps saying it's not what you're expecting. There's a scene where a hamster gets run over by a car. Just a heads up. Hamnet, not for me.
Okay.
Blue Moon, Linklater. I'm like, hell yeah, let's do this. Not for me. It just has Ethan Hawke with a bad comb over is sitting in a room, and he won't shut the fuck up. It's like, god damn.
I don't know why. I can't put my finger on it, but a guy with a bad comb over who won't shut the fuck up is just ringing really familiar in my head.
I just don't need more of that. Song Sung Blue. Kate Hudson's up for an Oscar for like supporting actress. It had Hugh Jackman as a Neil Diamond tribute artist. I'm like, why is this a thing? Like, I don't like. I'm supposed to be inspired that this guy had a cover band. I don't get it. All the Oscar shorts were fantastic. I'm not going to go through all of those, but over the weekend we watched them in blocks at the theater. They had the animation, live action, and documentary. Documentaries all so fucking sad, and they make you mad because they're all like social issues. I will suggest one out of this group because it's available on Netflix, and I think everybody who I'm not going to make this political, but there's one called All the Empty Rooms, and has anyone seen it?
No.
Nope.
It's a documentary, and this filmmaker just goes to these empty rooms, these bedrooms in the houses, and you're like, what is all this? You soon realize that these are all the rooms that have not been touched since the kids were killed in school shootings. Holy shit. It's rough. Yeah, just like talking about it makes me want to cry. But on the other end of the spectrum, in the live action shorts, there's one called, I'm pulling them up here because I logged them all so that I could talk about them. There's an animation called Retirement Plan that's really quite funny, but also like a reflection of like when this guy retires, all the things he'll do. And it's sort of like sad reality of the American dream. But there's this really funny live action movie called Jane Austen's Period Drama. And yes, it might be what you're thinking, but
I'm hoping it's what I'm thinking.
Yes. So this, I don't even know if I should spoil it. I don't even know where you can watch it or if you'll be able to watch it, but it's set it's a period piece. This couple, and he's about to propose to the girl, and he's like, "Oh no, you have blood on your dress." And he picks her up, and he's like, takes her back to the castle, and he's like, "We must fetch a doctor." And she's like, she runs away, and she tells like her sisters, like, "I'm having my period. How do I tell him?" And it's pretty funny because it's like all done in that language, and he comes rushing back, and he's like, "What do you?" She's like, "I'm bleeding from my uterus," and and he's like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "Well, it happens." And he's like, "How long does this last?" And she's like, 6 days. And he's like, "Oh, good." And she's like, "Every month." And he's like, "What?" And it's really well done. And it was just like a good palate cleanser because everything else is so heavy. It was like great to see a comedy. And then I watched the other night this is the last one I'll talk about, the feature for the Oscars. It was just an accident. It's a French film, I believe. And this one was really, you guys might actually enjoy this one because it's basically like a whodunit, but you're learning about the story as it goes along. Basically, this guy hits a dog, which I was like, fuck this. Hits a dog in his car at the beginning. You don't see it, but he asked for some help from a mechanic. Like, "Can you look at my car? It broke down, whatever." And it just unravels and keeps snowballing, and all these people get involved, and it's sort of like it's a crime mystery. It was actually really good for these Oscar movies. I was pretty surprised at this one, just because it's like, I don't know, it's not as heavy and serious as some of these others I talked about. So it was good to get some levity. I have I think one more movie to watch, and I've seen all the nominees, so I'm pretty stoked to get that list checked off and
Move on to.
Yeah, lots of. I appreciate this podcast because it's nice to take breaks from that and go back to Valentine slashers and that kind of stuff. But that's what I watched.
All right. Thank you, Tad. So, speaking of Academy Award-winning films, what's our
Jesus.
first film this evening, Ted?
Our first film is Valentine.
Hey, happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Came by to drop off a gift.
Valentine.
Valentine's Day. What does it mean? What's it really about? Celebration of true love?
I got a Valentine the other day. And it was awful. Someone saying that they were going to kill me. And it was signed JM. Ours too, the card in our chocolates.
Well, that's sweet, I think.
You both received threatening notes signed JM?
JM. Jeremy Melton. It's Jeremy.
Who's Jeremy Melton?
This loser from 6th grade.
Why would Jeremy Melton want to hurt you?
He attacked me at a dance in junior high and he got sent to reform school because of it.
10 years is a long time. This could be anyone. Some kid that you all tease in the 6th grade is probably not worth getting all worked up over.
Someone there? Hello?
I really wouldn't worry about this. Jeremy couldn't manage a water fountain without screwing up. I don't think he's capable of an intricate revenge plot.
A group of friends are being stalked and murdered around Valentine's Day by a killer wearing a Cupid mask. Years earlier, when they were in middle school, they cruelly rejected and humiliated a shy boy named Jeremy at a school dance, which led to him being falsely accused and violently attacked by other boys. As the murders continue, it seems like Jeremy, who disappeared after the incident, has come back for revenge. In the end, I cannot reveal the ending. I mean, you're here and you're gonna get spoiled, so there is a twist, but
But
Is
it's
it
dumb
Jeremy?
You
shit and
don't
it
see
doesn't
the
matter,
ending
so.
coming like from the first 2 minutes of the movie.
so I want to say first before I don't know how if all of you are gonna hate this one and rip into it.
Ted has this on 4K, you guys. Just because.
I have it on Blu-ray. They have not released it in 4K. I have it on DVD and Blu-ray. This came
Fuck
out
is
in the
wrong
early.
with you?
This came out in the early 2000s. This was at the end of that like Scream. I know what you did last summer. All of those. You know, it's sort of like.
yeah.
That generation of like Halloween came out, then Friday the 13th, all that, and then they went away for a bit. Then we had this other resurgence thanks to Scream, and we have these pretty
Every
faces.
single one of them sucked ass.
Yeah, we have these pretty faces, but you know what? Like I was young, I was just getting into horror. I this is not even a guilty pleasure. It is just a pleasure to me. I enjoy it. I love holiday horror. You guys know that.
True. Yep.
I think the mask is fucking great.
Yep.
And
it's not bad.
this follows a formula that we all know and love. I mean, is the twist bad? Yeah, but the soundtrack fucking rips. It has Deftones on it. Come on.
I know. I heard it.
Yeah, it's a great like turn your brain off. It's a popcorn movie. It's not heavy. It's just like there. And it to me every Valentine's Day, I love that we have this like. I love that I could watch 4 Valentine's Day horror movies back to back to back to back to back and just have a great night of it and enjoy all of them. And they all have, you know, this isn't the best of the group. That's fine, but I still love it. And I would love to see the unrated cut someday.
Guys, have you noticed the trend of like when Tad loves a movie and the three of us don't like a movie, he says every time, it's just a turn your brain off popcorn movie.
I mean, I could aim low and say, you know, I'm much younger and was much more impressionable, and this is nostalgic for me. I know this came out when like you were my age, but
This is one of those things where like Mike and Jason are a good bit older than you. Like you,
good
our age. I'm pretty sure we're on. What are you? 30.
I am 40 now.
You're 40 now. Okay.
So
I was
we're not
thinking
far
you were still
apart.
yeah, so we're only 3 years apart. But this is one of those things like every once in a while, because Terry and I are 5 years apart. And when you're an adult, that doesn't mean anything. But every once in a while, something will come up, a piece of nostalgia or something we're watching on TV. Oh, I remember that. And, and she'll have loved it. And I'll be like, yeah, either I was past the age group of it or I hated it because I was already, up my own ass about cult movies or whatever. And it's one of those things that really delineates the difference of how far apart 3 years is when you're in those formative years.
Sure. I'll give you the look of the killer. Has NECA done that figure yet? Because
No, and I'm surprised that Shout Factory even did the Blu-ray, to be honest. Like, I thought this was one that sort of got buried and was... I know that
deservingly
it's not,
forgotten.
Yeah,
I like the art of the Blu-ray.
I saw this in theaters. Like, Denise Richards is hot. Like, I don't care, man. This has stuff I enjoy.
Do you know how this did in the box office, Ted?
It profited, but wasn't huge. Like the writer director wanted to make a sequel, and it just didn't get those numbers. But it didn't lose money. It turned a profit, but it just didn't do like huge numbers because it was at the tail end. I mean,
That's what I was going to say. Yeah.
I was thinking this was like 98, like around the time H2O came out, and this is 2001. So this is like right at the end of that craze.
That's why I was wondering, because it feels like how it's not talked about anymore, and I didn't know if it did any money at the box office because it's at the very tail end of that slasher resurgence, thanks to Scream.
So now is your time for you to all shit on it, and that's okay.
Was this rated R or was it PG-13?
It's R.
R.
And okay, so it was a performative R. It was if we put out a PG-13 slasher movie, no one's going to go see it, like the Prom Night remake. So we have to put an R on this. But there's no fucking blood. There's no nudity.
There's a little bit of nudity.
There's no sleet. There is?
In that scene where it's that performance art with all the TVs on the wall.
That doesn't count.
Boobs are boobs, man.
Joe Bob would count it.
I can't.
Fine, then there's tits in Godzilla versus Megalon too. But
okay.
Awesome. I'm gonna check that movie.
Well, I will spoil.
Sold more people on Godzilla versus Megalon.
I will spoil some of my trivia for this. Okay, several death scenes in the film had to be trimmed in post to secure an R rating. Not by the MPAA, but Village Roadshow, and it was because this came out right after Columbine. They got scared.
Oh yeah.
Oh, boo.
So the studio had them trim several of the kills. There was apparently like Katherine Heigl got her throat slit. There's there's a very very R-rated cut out there, but like the studio's like, this thing didn't make enough money for us to go in the back room and pull out the film reel. So have at it.
It was nice seeing Katherine Heigl in an early role for her, I'm guessing.
This was probably right after Bride of Chucky?
Oh, yeah, maybe. Yeah.
I think that was 98.
Which was right after Bugged with Randy Quaid.
And I really liked
the movie that she really wants everyone to forget she was in.
She hates this one, too, so...
I thought Marley Shelton did a
her.
good job, the lead main girl, Kate, and she's cute, but... Sure, Denise Richards is hot, but like all she did was just eye fuck everybody and didn't do any acting.
Yeah, I
right?
really did
She's like,
her
look
in
hot,
this.
and she's like, okay. And that was her scene. I was like, oh.
I was thinking about that while I was watching this, like how she became such an it girl, because she's not a good actress. Like she's very wooden and uninteresting.
Careful, Tammy and the T-Rex.
I was going to say, that's how
Like
she
I
got
said.
big, was Tammy and the T-Rex.
Uh-huh.
And I love that movie, but she has nothing to do with why. And she's basically looked the same since then. So she looks like she's had plastic surgery, but I don't know that she actually has. I don't know if that. I mean, that it doesn't really. We don't mean to be commenting on people's appearances, but like I just never could figure out like. She doesn't strike me as being hot enough to have gotten by only on that, but she doesn't really have any acting chops, so how did that? But I don't know. It doesn't matter.
Here's my
She was on Melrose Place. She was on, a lot of big things at that time.
Here's my problem with her in this movie is I feel like she's playing the quote unquote, I guess, slutty character or the character that all the guys wants to have sex with, but her flirty interactions come off super bitchy to me. Like she's just got
Awkward bitch.
constant bitch face through this whole movie.
Well, that's what like that character is like. She's so confident, you know what I mean? Like no one can touch me. But to think this came out like after she was a Bond girl, she was the Bond girl in The World Is Not Enough.
Oh yeah,
she was
Christmas,
in Drop Dead Gorgeous,
something or other.
She was in Wild Things, Starship Troopers. I mean, this is after all that stuff, which is crazy to me.
Yeah, that is wild.
The acting
So
that got
she was
to me
in
the
at least.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say she was in at least one genuinely good movie then.
Starship Troopers.
Yeah. I was waiting for Tad to say, "Oh, you like Wild Things that much?"
I like that one too, man.
I've never actually seen it, so I have no idea.
You get to see Kevin Bacon's Bacon, baby. Yeah.
Oh man,
sold.
I could just watch the first Friday the 13th and see it through his Speedo. Anyway, I cut you off,
You get the
Jason.
full
the
Monty.
acting that got to me was surprising. I guess I am a big fan of Buffy. I never went on to watch Angel, but the David Borean and there's too many vowels there. David Borean is his acting was awful.
He was sleeping through this movie.
Jesus, and I'm
Marley
like,
was
how'd
the
you get,
only
like,
good actor in the whole fucking movie.
Who was?
The lead.
Oh, yeah, no, I liked
Marley,
her a lot.
what's her
Marley
face?
Yeah,
Shelton.
Shelton.
She was great and had a
Yeah, and she still is awesome.
She
Sweet.
carried the movie,
Yeah.
yes, but
man. All them other douches were so douchey.
well, and also it's just one of those movies that drives me nuts. That like this movie proves that all men are scum, right? Like there's
Right.
not a decent male character in this movie,
Facts.
and
I mean-
and then most of the female characters aren't that great either.
Also true.
So
A man made me watch this movie, so yes, all men are scum.
Yeah, Mike.
I thought I would make it through my whole fucking life without watching this piece of shit. And it was even dumber than I was expecting it to be. Hey, did you notice the director of photography was Rick Boda? Boda D's nuts!
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Mute us, Mike.
Yep, on it. No, he's talking shit about this movie. It's great. Sorry, Ted. I get
Well,
that
he
you
also
love it.
shot Barbed Wire, Kiss the Girls, Lethal Weapon 4, Tales from the Crypt. The guy's a star. I mean,
Other than Tales from the Crypt, none of those things are good, so...
hater.
Yeah.
another thing I had a problem with this movie is it just feels like the movie thinks it's so clever with its twist that you guess with right away, and I hate talking like that because that just drives me nuts. I was like, oh, this movie sucks. I saw the twist coming a mile away. And I was like, well, you know, my take always on that is like, well, then why don't you like it more? If you saw the ending coming, that means that was kind of what you were expecting to happen, which means that the movie was doing its job. It met your expectations, right? But no, this because I guess the real problem with this twist ending is they really try forcing in some red herrings that do not work at all, and especially that little flip at the end. It's like no, and the biggest problem is they focus so much on the killer getting nosebleeds whenever he
Which
kills.
is physically impossible for it to come
Out the mask.
nose and then up into the mask and then back out the mask nose. Like that doesn't. Anyway.
Which also leads me to my other problem with this movie is that there's so many elements of this movie that I've seen before but done way better. And that's one of them, where the killer gets a nosebleed. Like, why is that even there? And it's there for that final reveal of who the killer is, so you know it's going to be saved for that, because they cannot work it into the film any other way. Plus, it also devoids the whole mystery in the first half of who the killer is, because we see the kid that gets picked on in the beginning of the movie. He gets a nosebleed. So it's like, okay, well, it is obviously this guy, even though these characters are kind of running around. It's like, is it this guy? Or, or where has he been all these years? And blah, 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 whatever. But the nosebleed thing, I saw in the 1982 film Alone in the Dark. And they did a really good job with that. Of course, that movie had like multiple killers in it.
Yeah, that's a great flick.
Oh, I love that movie. And so I thought that was done way better. But but like I said, I've seen it before. Also, the revenge plot of tormenting a kid when he's little, seen that done thousands of
night,
times,
yeah.
and done way better. Like this kid gets like pushed around at a dance a little bit, but you take like Terror Train, they trick a guy into sleeping with a corpse in that one.
We've all been there.
Slaughter High, another one. Even
Prom
like
Night.
Prom Night. Even I could throw Toxic Avenger in there, and all of these are like these people were truly tortured and tormented, and no wonder they grew up to be psychopaths. But it didn't feel as earned in this, or it was like a watered down version of the.
Well, the
tormenting
director
kids.
Jamie Blanks was a big fan of Alone in the Dark and actually credited it as something like an inspiration for the nosebleed thing. So,
Oh, well, I used to give it credit.
and you know who Jamie Blanks, the director, is good friends with and has worked on his films, and who happens to have a commentary track on the Scream Factory Blu-ray, Don Coscarelli.
Oh, cool. Okay. So the movie went
I
up
think-
a little point for me.
I say, Don Coscarelli went down a little point for me.
He lost a lot of points with Phantasm Ravengers.
Hey, I like that one.
He didn't direct that one, did he?
No, he
No.
still could have stopped it.
My biggest trouble is just that it was clunkier than hell, and like now. But then if Tad's telling me that there's a lot of stuff got edited, I'm like that can attribute some of that clunkiness, and if
But if all they were doing is trim and gore, that's not going to fuck up the flow of the movie.
I know, but it'll help to have that gore back. I'm saying if that ever resurfaced, this is a movie I probably could watch again if I had to. If it's a super unrated cut kind of thing. I didn't hate it that much like Brian Clark hate, but
Yeah, if I see a worse movie this year, I will be shocked.
I mean, I do think any trimming could have the potential of screwing up the flow of the movie, and we'll get into that later with another film on this list. But I do like the look of The Killer too. I mean, I
Yeah.
feel like we've seen it done in other ways and maybe even better since then. But this movie gets the credit for doing that
For
kind of
Happy Death
mask
Day.
first.
Yep.
K&B did it.
Oh well, then there you go. That's why.
that's why it's good.
Again, now K&B is on my shit list. Now, like, I thought that mask looked awful. I don't get, and I also hate the one in Happy Death Day. Like, I just stupid
The baby face
cherubic
killer.
cupidy baby face masks look dumb. They're not
Okay.
scary.
Okay, I mean, I like how it
The
looked.
juxtaposition.
With this one, it looked kind of more like one of those like almost creepy porcelain doll type things. That's where it kind of got
Like
some
a
brownie
Cupid
points
doll
for me.
kind of. Yeah, I can see that. I actually thought there's a scene toward the end when they're at the party where they find a cop's head in the koi pond.
The
I thought
cop's
it-
head. That's the detective that.
Yeah,
He was
again-
maybe the worst actor of all time. God, I hated
that's-
that dude.
That's what's his name though, isn't it? From
no,
that wasn't the guy from News Radio. and-
no, definitely
That wasn't
was
him?
not. No,
Oh, shit,
he
okay.
looked like him.
I
like
thought it was him.
His older brother who couldn't get acting jobs.
I cared so little, I didn't bother doing the research
No.
before I opened my mouth on that.
But when they see it, and it might just be because it was underwater, so the image was distorted a little, but I thought that was the killer's mask. Like, that was such a lousy fake head.
Well, and it was
It
such a
took me
quick
a minute
shot
to
too.
figure out. Yeah, it's like, oh, which again, maybe cut for content or whatever.
Yeah.
But maybe they replaced all of the trimmed gore with extra needle drops, because as Tad was saying how good the soundtrack is. You could, like, this movie felt like a commercial for the soundtrack rather than an actual movie, because there are multiple scenes where they just jump from song to song to song within the same scene, where like people will be talking and then it'll cut to, you're like, oh, I'm going to walk into this other room, and as they walk into another room, a different fucking song is playing in that room. The only song that I did like on the soundtrack is the one over the end credits, which is a Snake River Conspiracy song, which I was kind of surprised by. I didn't know they ever got big enough to be like included on a soundtrack. I saw them open for A Perfect Circle,
Fun.
like on Perfect Circle's first tour for their first album, Mer de Nam, and Snake River Conspiracy was fantastic live, and I have their first record. Apparently they had a second album, but it either never came out or was distributed in such a limited fashion that like nobody ever actually carried it. But But yeah, they're cool. But I do have one fond memory of this movie, though.
Oh, here we go. Yay.
All right.
Yeah. When it came out, I was in college, my freshman year, and I was working in a video store. And of course, I hadn't seen it because I was trying to avoid this thing like it had the fucking plague and Ebola combined. But a group of young, like high school age townies came in to rent a movie one Friday night, and they came up to the counter with Valentine, and I talked them out of renting Valentine and sent them home with The Evil Dead instead.
Oh,
Nice.
that's your favorite memory of this movie. That's cool.
Yes.
So what you're saying is that you're that snotty film nerd that
I
works in the video store.
1000% was and still am.
That's facts. There.
It's fair. Okay, all right, Tad. We'll stop. What trivia do you have for this?
I have quite a bit of trivia. I was also going to put, and this isn't really part of it, but just reading through here, you might not be familiar with the name, but there's an artist named Sandro Botticelli. You probably recognize their most famous painting is like the nude woman in the giant shell with like her hair covering her. That's what they based the mask off of, this artist painting. So that's the inspiration. Also, this movie had like a $10 million budget. It is the lowest budget movie to ever have a Super Bowl ad. So they played the trailer in the Super Bowl, you know, and this ad costs almost as much as the entire movie, which is crazy.
I bet.
Yeah. I like a little Alfredo sauce on my Botticelli.
Yeah. I prefer a marinara or like a tomato sauce, but
Sure. Bolognese.
again, yeah, I will sort of go more into depth on what we talked about earlier. And if you don't know, the Jamie Blanks, this will make a lot of sense. The director, also his movie right before this was Urban Legend, so that's how he got this in '98. Like, became that guy. But apparently Don Coscarelli was a big fan and visited the set of Urban Legend, and that's where they sort of became friends. And I guess he worked on like camera and editing, and he worked on like Bubba Hotep and a few things with Don, so they're good friends. Cool. But several death scenes in the film had to be trimmed in post-production to secure an R rating, including a shot of Katherine Heigl's throat being sliced and cut to a profile shot instead. Like I said, not by the MPAA, but by Village Roadshow. Jamie Blanks was disappointed as his hopes were for a 1980s-style slasher, and he wanted to spill some blood. Village and Warner Brothers had him trim several of the kills even after the MPAA had awarded the film an R rating. The argument was that Warner was uncomfortable with releasing such a gory film shortly after Columbine high school shootings.
You know, that's so dumb. I mean, it's still a horror movie slasher. You're still making a movie about somebody killing people. Just cutting the gore doesn't take away the intent.
Yeah.
You know, it's like when you're watching YouTube videos and there's text on the screen and it's the word fuck, but they just blur out the U. I'm like, what's the point? We all know what that word is. Just freaking say it.
Well, I mean, Jimmy Eat World, like they put out an album called Bleed America, and it came out right after 9/11, and they had to change it to just America. Yeah. It's like so stupid.
Meanwhile, Slayer put out God Hates Us All on 9/11.
There was a lot of talk about restoring the trimmed kills and releasing a director's cut, but unfortunately, Warner Brothers has not shown any interest in releasing that. And then Jamie Blanks, the director, pointed out the difficulty of juggling the red herrings, as every time he showed the killer, he had to be sure to account for other possible suspects to keep audiences guessing. And that's really, really tough when you only have your leading man. So he only had the leading man for 10 days, like our main guy that Jason couldn't pronounce his name. I guess he only had 10 days to shoot, so they had to shoot all of his stuff immediately and then try to like do the red herring stuff. I don't know.
That's why he just drops in and out of this movie, like...
Yeah.
Like John Carradine in a Fred Olen Ray movie.
Yeah.
And that's what I have for trivia.
Excellent. Thank you. All right, Brian, what's our next film?
The next movie, thank God, is probably the greatest Valentine's Day slasher movie ever made, My Bloody Valentine.
It's a bad time, this time of year. How many times is he gonna tell this story?
Oh, let him tell it. I love fairy tales.
This ain't no fairy tale, little girl. If you don't take it seriously, you're a fool!
The first Valentine's dance in 20 years has to be something special.
Look, Landers, you gotta get a lot of exercise if you're gonna grapple with Gretchen.
Oh, yeah? Well, I got a Valentine for her that she's never gonna forget.
Right to the heart, huh?
In this town on Valentine's Day, everybody loses their heart.
Roses are red, violets are blue. One is dead, and so are you.
It can't be happening again.
Stop!
It can't be happening again.
What's going on over in Valentine Bluffs? It looks like Harry Warden's back in town.
It happened once. It happened twice. Cancel the dance or it'll happen twice.
In the town of Valentine Bluffs, there are many ways to die. Take your pick. My Bloody Valentine.
20 years after a mine collapse that resulted in the lone survivor Harry Warden massacring everyone who was partying at the Valentine's dance while he was eating his coworkers to survive, the town of Valentine Bluffs decides it's time to get out from under Harry's shadow and have another dance. It isn't long before hearts start showing up in candy boxes, and the people to whom those hearts belong start turning up dead in weird places like dryers. Looks like Harry hasn't forgotten after all. It had been probably the last time I saw this movie was when the remake came out, so it's been a minute. And I
so when they released the cut with the extra gore put back in?
I just have the old Lionsgate DVD. I haven't upgraded it to like a fancy pants Blu-ray yet, and I'm pretty sure it's still the trimmed version. Like there's a little bit of gore. Like when the body falls out of the dryer, you'd get just the like maybe 3 frames worth of a look at her face. But yeah, I'm pretty sure this is just the standard R-rated version. And I'd forgotten how intensely Canadian this movie is. TJ, our brooding one of the 2 main male characters, looks an awful lot like Rob Thomas from Matchbox 20 and sounds just like Winston Rothschild of Rothschild's Sewage and Septic Sucking Services from the Red Green Show. And I think one of my favorite parts, just in the movie overall, but in this specific scene, the bit where the girl is discovered impaled on the shower pipe is so well shot, because when like you don't see her get, well, maybe you do in the gore cut, but when she's discovered, the guy who finds her, he walks in from the left side of the frame, and she's in frame the whole time in the shot, but the camera is so close to the side of her face, and she's like kind of out of focus, that it takes a minute to, like, there's a beat before, or at least I shouldn't say the whole audience, maybe you guys got it, but I was like watching the guy walk in, and so you don't quite realize right away that thing right up close to the camera is this poor girl's face, the water spewing out of her mouth. And the whole movie looks amazing. Like, I think my favorite part of it is just the cinematography, especially the stuff down in the mine and all the found, well, not found, but the real locations rather than sets just adds so much to the movie. And it's kind of amazing that the cinematographer, Rodney Gibbons, didn't really do anything else of major note. I mean, he had he had a fine career and did other stuff, but like from the way this movie looks, you would have expected him to get snapped up and put into Hollywood movies. But so speaking of Hollywood, From 1970, we're going to do a little tax law lesson. Isn't that fun?
Sweet.
From 1974 to 1988, the Capital Cost Allowance Program was designed to jumpstart Canada's film industry. 100% of the money spent on a movie was tax deferred until the movie turned a profit, provided you spent all of it in a specified amount of time. So if you signed up for this thing, you couldn't just, spend $500,000 and pay no tax on it, right? Like once you were signed into this program, you had, say, 90 days or however long to get your movie made. Otherwise, you lost all your tax credits. So this resulted in a ton of movies made in Canada very quickly and cheaply. And the easiest way to guarantee a profit on a quick and cheap movie is, of course, a horror movie. So if you participate in, or at least have some knowledge of, a health savings account program through an employer, imagine if your boss said you could do the exact same thing with hundreds of thousands of dollars, and you got to do it with something really cool, like making a slasher movie instead of buying blood pressure medicine and ass cream. So that's why. So like this Ghost Keeper, or the Prom Night movies, all these great movies where you see like, wow, these people have some kind of Upper Peninsula accents, don't they? that's where all that stuff came from.
Yep.
And some people really did, unlike poor Rodney Gibbons, who deserved better, did spin this out into big careers in Hollywood. Most notably, the producer, Stephen Miller. No, not that Stephen Miller, thank God. Whose first credit was as associate producer of Werewolf of Washington, which is kind of a notorious B movie. But he went on to produce a ton of really famous TV shows in the 80s, like Airwolf, Magnum P.I., Evening Shade. And one of the other producers, Andre Link, was executive producer on Shivers and Rabid. So that helped get David Cronenberg's career going. But probably the most notable crew member is the prolific composer Paul Zaza. We're back to this guy again. I brought him up a few episodes ago. But if you like horror movies, you've heard his music. He did all 4 of the Prom Night movies. He did The Brain. He did Curtains, which was just on Joe Bob. He did Ghost Keeper, which I talked about in what we watched a couple episodes ago. This dude was like the soundtrack to Canadian horror in the 80s. But yeah, I was really glad to get back to this one. 'Cause like I said, it had been a really long time since I'd seen it. I think I enjoyed it more this time than I did the first time I saw it. I would love to I want to watch it again with the gore put back in, because I'm sure that helps a lot.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was one of the things I was going to bring up, too, as far as like the discussion of cutting gore. Is it going to mess up the pacing? And I feel like it is paced a bit better with the gore intact, or at least like some of those kills, the jump cuts aren't as jarring and take you out for a little bit until you can get comfortable back into it.
Yeah. I kind of suspected that was what you meant when you said that, because yeah, there's some stuff in this that is definitely kind of wonky in the editing. Like,
yeah.
they didn't edit out the gore in any artful way. They just said, okay, snip these frames out here, those frames there, and did nothing to cover it up.
Yep.
But it also struck me that, now of course slasher movies have attractive young casts. That's just one of the things. But there seems to be a great disparity in this movie in the attractiveness of the male and female casts, whereas I would argue
40-year-old high schoolers, yeah.
Well, that's just the case in all of these things. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm getting at is, I think of slasher movies, at least of this era, maybe any era, this has one of the more attractive female casts. Like, there isn't like one obviously hot girl and a bunch of her friends. Like, they're all very attractive. But I have never seen a slasher movie with a doofier looking bunch of guys in my entire life.
Dude, be careful what you say about the guy with the mustache. He's my hero. I loved him.
the guy who looks like young, like a cross between Rip Taylor and John Candy.
Yes, exactly.
Made me think of like the original Black Christmas. They have that sort of feeling too, of like these guys look like old and grizzled, but very Canadian.
Yeah.
Yep. Love it. I've seen it a million times. Big fan. I like it that, the production being in a practical location, shooting literally in mines is awesome. Not to take trivia away, I thought I heard that he had to use, the cinematographer used some really super powerful lighting while
you would think so, yeah.
using some really high-speed film, which, bumped up the budget of the film, but needed to shoot in that total darkness.
But it paid off. Even on a crappy old DVD, it still looks fantastic.
Yeah, and it has a lot of depth to it in those shots too, which just goes to show like the lighting of it had to have been a bitch. You take a movie, say like in some of those underground like cave scenes, and I'll even say Day of the Dead, where things just cut off in blackness, which can add to the eeriness of the scene, but here like these cave shots, you're just engulfed by darkness. So to get some like nice depth and beautiful looking shots of these walls was amazing.
Mm-hmm. And some great kills.
Yes.
And an iconic killer. I mean, the pickaxe, the mask, yeah, it's the Valentine's movie.
Yeah. Which is weirdly though, I feel like the Valentine's part is the part that's kind of forced. Like I get like the trend at the time was to make holiday themed slasher movies, and this, that was an easy one, but everything else about the movie works so well that every time they like slam the brakes on the plot to go back to, look, we're decorating for the Valentine's dance again. Like that's the stuff. It's like, oh, really? Why can't this just be a mining town? Like you don't need the holiday part at all. The rest of the plot works just fine as it is.
Yeah, but you get cool stuff like, him giving the heart as a Valentine's present. I mean, come on.
Yeah, and writing the clever Valentines with it.
Yep.
It's interesting because this is so well made that like I never really stopped to think about the fact that it's a Valentine's Day horror movie that because it's set around it, but like the killer is a miner in a gas mask that has nothing at all, where our other two movies that we're talking about tonight, he's wearing the cherub mask and he's shooting a bow and it's like and we'll talk about the next one, but like they have distinct looks and characteristics that go with the holiday, where this is like Brian said, it's sort of like you could do it without it, but is really almost just like wedged in there to sell it as a holiday horror movie. But I think they do it well enough that like it's not a deal breaker. It is the best. I think we all agree it is the best Valentine's Day horror movie, and it's a stone cold classic. This is another one I've owned on like every format, and I played it a couple of years at the Capitol, the uncut version. It's Godzill's favorite movie, and it's a ton of fun watching it with a crowd. It's a ton of fun watching it alone. It's just like it's charming because of the Canadianness of it. I like this. I mean, I love this movie. It's a must watch every year for me. So,
agreed. I love it. I don't know what else to add to it that hasn't already been said, but it definitely, as far as cinephile goes, it definitely stands out amongst the crowd as being very well filmed and produced. Not just a quick cash grab type of thing. But I did want to pose the question on why do you think, just in general, why this one stands out amongst all the other slasher films from that time period? What do you think was the keying factor that makes this one way more memorable than, say, I don't know, Just Before Dawn or stuff like that?
Because I've never seen it.
Just Before Dawn is awesome.
It is awesome.
I think a lot of that really does have to do with the theme. Like, it's easy to remember. Oh, it's My Bloody Valentine. There's even a band named after it. Like, it's a holiday slasher movie, and the slasher has such an iconic look.
I think that has a lot to do with it too, is the look of the killer. You get a lot of slashers where they don't even try to do a cool look for the killer from this era, but This one has really an
And
iconic
somehow
look.
we don't have a franchise out of this, Like, we got a reboot, and we'll probably get another reboot, but no franchise? Come on.
Yeah.
But I think like that's what helps it stay in the memory over the generations. But I think once you go back and look at it, like we've all been saying, there is a lot more to it than just the gimmick and the look of the slasher. Like it is, no pun intended, a cut above a lot of other slasher movies. A lot of that is again back to the cinematography. This movie looks amazing. It looks better than just about maybe any of the Hollywood slasher movies that were coming out around the same time, with probably not a ton more budget, but at least a little bit more.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's definitely, it's a better story than a lot of them from that time period.
You come
definitely.
for the gimmick and you stay for the surprisingly high quality movie that you get out of the gimmick.
I think that's maybe that cements it as a classic, but I think what made it rise above the sea of 80s slashers in that time period is maybe the look of the killer and really clinging on to that holiday theme.
Not to belabor this because it's been haunting us for like a good year now, but when they finally decide, instead of the dance, that they're going to have their Valentine's party in the old mine, and they've all just got there and are just getting everything set up, a couple of characters go into the kitchen, and there is a pot of hot dogs boiling on the stove.
Oh,
Did
gosh.
Harry set those hot dogs up to boil before everyone got there? Because nobody else has had enough time to boil that giant pot of water.
That'll take forever, yeah.
Good point, yeah.
Hot Dog Harry.
Maybe. Wasn't there a finger in the water, too, or something? Or am I thinking of
I
something?
don't know. I think it was just hot dogs.
Oh, okay. Did you have anything to add to the question I posed to Jason about why do you think this one stands out amongst the sea of just forgettable 80s slashers?
I think the cast is really fun. The acting's fun. The kills are great. The killer's great. Yeah, and it's solid. Like it flows well. It's got your twist ending. And Canada rules.
Canada does rule. All right. What trivia do you have for this one, Tad?
Jason sort of alluded to this earlier, which is fine. The film was shot in authentic mines, which were often as much as 900 feet underground. Because of this, only certain lighting devices could be used at the mines because of the potential danger of methane explosions.
Jeepers.
That'd be a little tense. The folk ballad that plays over the ending credits was added by composer Paul Zaza as an afterthought. The uncredited singer who does the vocal for the ballad was Scottish-Canadian tenor John McDermott. Write these names down. Okay. Producers Andre Link and John Dunning said the film's origin came about when they sought to find a holiday which a slasher film had not been set on during the slasher flick boom of the early 80s. They settled on Valentine's Day. In order to keep the idea from being copied, they made the film's working title The Secret, though they knew the title in mind the whole time. I talked a little bit about... Yeah. We talked about this a little bit earlier, but the MPAA cut 9 minutes out of the film before it came out, mostly because the movie was released shortly after John Lennon died, and there was a major backlash against violent movies. So, see a running theme here, right? American violence and... causing our beloved slashers to be slashed.
And when are they ever going to learn it ends up not mattering at all?
Well, especially since all of the events that caused all this consternation were gun violence events, and nobody dies of a gunshot in any of these fucking movies.
Yeah, that's true too.
The killer's, this is a fun one. The killer's identity was kept a secret from the cast and crew, but because the script ended with the killer's arm being cut off, Neil Affleck, who played Axel, was able to figure out who the killer was because he figured out that the killer was his character when he was set to have a prosthetic arm created. So he had to get like his arm cast, and he's like, "Oh shit, I'm the killer."
Well, spoilers from
most
the
of
effects department.
the movie acting, he didn't know. So none of them knew.
So it's genuine. So it's cool.
Yeah, it's
Everyone
pretty cool.
had to play it straight because they didn't know.
And that's what I have for trivia.
I really love that ending too, when he's just like scampers off down into the mine. It's so good.
Yeah, we needed like a one-armed sequel.
Yeah. Could happen. Jason, what's our next movie?
Our next movie is from 2025. It is Heart Eyes.
You're just too good to be true. Can't take my eyes off of you. You'd be like heaven to touch. You're just too good to be
For the past 2 years, a masked maniac known as the Hard Eyes Killer has stalked,
hunted,
And brutally slain couples on Valentine's Day. With no motive yet uncovered.
This is more than just murder. He's like Cupid with a kink.
We're being chased by a fucking serial killer.
Hey, you good?
He's gonna keep killing people. We end it here.
Hey, come on.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy V-Day!
Get killed, all right? What was...
Why would he say that?
To complete our Valentine-themed trilogy of holiday horror tonight, I couldn't be more excited to talk about Heart Eyes. The film centers on a Valentine's Day killer who targets couples, turning what should be the most romantic night of the year into a blood-soaked nightmare, complete with a striking visual identity and some genuinely clever twists. I was lucky enough to catch this one in the theater with my girlfriend Tiffany, which made it even more special because it's the kind of movie that thrives on shared gasps, nervous laughs, and that creeping tension as the body count rises. Hard Eyes fully commits to its concept, blending romance, brutality, and a dark humor in a way that feels both classic and fresh. And it's easily one of my favorite recent examples of how a holiday can be twisted into something stylish, vicious, and unforgettable. And man, this and the mask is great.
Yeah,
It's
that's
so
the mask is pretty
great.
cool. Yeah, and I love the POV shots so the eye holes are in the heart shape.
Yeah, it's really great. The killer is great. The concept's awesome. And directed by Josh Rubin, who had done Scare Me, Werewolves Within, the Creep Tapes, so he does good stuff.
Yep.
And yeah, just taking a fun little twist on a romantic comedy and killing some folks on Valentine's Day. Pretty neat. I didn't mind the twists either. And yeah, some good kills. What do you guys think?
I talked about this one quite a bit, I think on our year end last year. I saw this in theaters as well on Valentine's Day as a double feature with Love Hurts.
Oh, yeah.
It was a packed theater on Valentine's Day with couples, and I love the tone of this. I think I remember Jason sort of being thrown off that he said maybe you felt it was too much a rom-com.
Well, yeah, it was. not the straight horror that it thought it was going to be. There's some.
That's
yeah.
what I like about
And
it is that it feels like a genuine rom-com where a killer like jumped into the movie.
Yeah,
It's
it
like
just so happens
meta.
to have.
Yeah.
Makes it so
and
unique.
yeah, it's very unique, and I find the two leads so like they have great chemistry and they're so funny, and I love that like a lot of times in these types of movies the guy is like the goofy one who screws up and he's trying to impress the really hot girl, and this has that like reversed. I love that she's like vulnerable and she's not perfect and she's going to get fired and her apartment's a mess and her life is sort of a disaster, and she's got this hot, handsome man who's gonna come take her job, and he's so charming. And I love that twist. I love references to all the rom-coms in it. As someone, I love references to like 90s and 80s rom-coms. It's so charming, and
particularly the scene where her friend just right there
towards the
she
end, yeah.
says an entire sentence that's just made up of rom-com titles.
Yep.
Yes. I love it, and it's great because it's like seeing it with a crowd of couples. Like the girls can love it too. It's not like the guys are dragging their women to a horror movie, and the girls get something out of it, the guys get something out of it, and it's just so unique. And the opening's awesome. The mask is awesome. Rewatching it, and I mean Devin Sawa was awesome, but Jordan Brewster, I just keep like gushing over it. But rewatching it, I liked it even more this time. It might have, if I would have rewatched it again last year, it might have made my top 10. It's fantastic. I love it.
I love thinking of Devin Sawa and Jordana Brewster, that the joke that they're named Hobbs and Shaw, but they don't get why that's funny.
Yeah.
Is such a hack-ass joke, and it shouldn't work, but they sell it so well that it's funny anyway.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You were talking about the rom-com thing, and I brought this up when I mentioned it before, that it has the structure of a rom-com, and the beats in the rom-com where the drama would happen, where the couple would have a falling out or whatever, that's where the horror stuff hits in this one. It does suffer a little bit because of the copying of that structure, because in the rom-coms typically have that kind of middle act slump where they rely on the romance to carry the part where the unlikable and underdeveloped characters are the focus. But at least this one you get, some killings to spread that out. But the flipping of the character dynamic to where the guy is the quote unquote perfect one and the girl's kind of the goofy one. Maybe is that watching this as a straight guy, that's what it's like for a girl watching a rom-com where the hot girl is the perfect one, where they find them uninteresting, because the girl in this is fantastic. She's really funny and likable, and the guy's just kind of a nothing burger. Like, yeah, he's super good looking, but that's it. I don't know, I didn't get that much out of it with him. But I think my favorite scene between the two of them, though, is where they're having the really heartfelt conversation in the van with the hippies fucking in the back.
Yes,
making
that's
really
great.
loud
At the
sex
drive-in.
noises. Yeah.
Great stuff.
Yep, this movie's great. I love it too. Definitely, it has a great balance. Definitely is going for the rom-com aesthetic first, with the slasher stuff kind of blended in, but it's still a good balance. It's not overbearing on the rom-com stuff if you're wanting to go see a slasher, but like not overly horrific if you want the comedy. So it does a really good job at the balance, but basically being more of a rom-com with just so happens there's a slasher killing people. I also like how this movie is just one long chase scene. That's all. Once the killer starts going after them, it's just go the rest of the movie. And it's all in just the one night, which is also cool because like the whole thing is a first date movie. This is that couple's first date, with the most horrible first date ever imaginable. Because they go to dinner, they go back to her place, they go to the movies. All the date cliches are there. Even the even the cliche of the bonking heads on each other in their meet cute is there, and even that's taken to a further extreme where it happens like multiple times. I just one thing though. So if they are being chased because the killer decides to go after them instead of their original target, which was the other couple. So it was more on a whim to go after them too.
Well, it wasn't a whim. They did that kiss to make her ex jealous, but it was so convincing.
Yeah.
That the killer thought, oh, those two are really in love. I got to get them. Which again, that's as much of the rom-com part as it is the slasher part.
But I'm just saying, it's obviously the killer is not premeditated to go after those two. So then how does the killer get into her apartment in her closet before they get there? How would the killer even know to go to that apartment?
Well, I think that plays on the stereotype of a slasher. Like it's almost like meta of like how typical.
Yeah, I could buy into that. Where that's kind of like a joke at the expense of the slasher genre. Okay, that's fair.
Neither of the times I've watched this movie that didn't occur to me. Mostly because I was too busy laughing so hard at the fact that she hits the killer in the face with her dildo. This deathgasm, like you throw in some slapstick with a sex toy, and I'm just that gets me every time.
That's his autobiography title there.
Slapstick
with it. Oh my God, that's so perfect.
Slapdick.
I also love how this makes fun of my all-time favorite rom-com cliche, and that is tracking down the person you love at the airport. Oh. Which is like supposed to be the big final moment at the end, right? But like she doesn't find him there. And there's still another 15-20 minutes of the movie to go. So I love how they threw that in there.
I forgot. I was watching it and I was like, I know we have too much time left. How does this? I was like, how does this end? I'd seen it once in theaters and I haven't rewatched it, and I love that my brain could not remember. So it was, and then I sort of was like, oh, it sort of does like a Scream thing where we get the two killers and and it's fun, yeah. But it does remind me of a lot of Happy Death Day, and that like the lead of that is so fucking adorable and charming too that you just like. It's a rare instance to get me to root for the final girl, and you really do in this one. Like, I really want her to make it through, and yeah.
Absolutely.
I mostly agree with you, but there's one thing in this movie that kind of made me want her to get one of those ridiculous... By the way, what is the point of a spring-loaded arrow? Like... It wouldn't work worth a shit as an arrow with that extra stuff. But it's primarily used as a melee weapon, but how are you supposed to hold it so it's a knife? Anyway, when she goes to the cafe towards the beginning of the movie, her whole thing is like, oh, look, I'm very environmentally conscious. I use this metal straw. But they bring her the glass, and she pulls out the plastic straw that they brought her and throws it away and sticks her metal one in. You got to tell them you don't want the plastic straw, that you have your own. Otherwise, you're still wasting fucking plastic.
And I think it was one of those paper straws even, which I think was kind of the joke of it.
Ridiculous.
Yep. So, yay, hard eyes. What trivia do you have for this one, Tad?
The mask design for Hard Eyes, the mask designer for Hard Eyes, special effects artist Tony Gardner, also created a killer mask for Freaky, Happy Death Day, and Totally Killer. So, so fitting. Like, those movies sort of could be like a fun little marathon. I love them all. Mm-hmm. When Monica... Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, it kind of reminded me of the mask of, minus the glowing heart eyes, obviously, of the Collector.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Or what's his name from Nightbreed? Dr. Chalmers.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
When Monica and Allie shop for clothes, this is one of my favorite details. Allie's clothes reference other romantic comedies. Her first outfit with the hat is Stacey Dash's from Clueless. The dress with the collar is Julia Roberts' night outfit from Pretty Woman, and she and Monica wear the colored dresses from Romeo and Michelle's high school reunion. So,
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, growing up with an older sister, I watched and love a lot of these movies. So I recognize that and just thought that whole like montage of her trying on is another trope of rom-coms, like stepping out, showing the other girl the outfits, and she's saying yes or no. That's so much fun to see the references to classics. It's like, I just love that it's not giving us necessarily references to classic horror. It's doing the rom-com thing.
Yep.
I love it. And then this is just a fun little Easter egg. A news ticker early on in the film mentions the remains of a mailman being found under a bed and breakfast in Vermont, a nod to director Josh Rubin's previous film, Werewolves Within. So if you've seen
cool.
that,
Okay.
it's a fun little nod to his previous movie. They're set in the same universe.
Nice.
And that's what I have for trivia.
Excellent. All right, guys, let's rank these suckers. Jason?
Oh, this is harder than I thought it would be. I might go Hard Eyes, My Bloody Valentine.
Okay. Brian?
My Bloody Valentine, Hard Eyes very close behind, then Drowning in the Manure Lagoon on a Hog Farm, and then Valentine.
Right.
Okay, Tad?
This is tough, like Jason said, and just hearing me gush about it might have flipped the script. I think I like Hard Eyes, and then My Bloody Valentine, and then Valentine.
Mine is My Bloody Valentine, Hard Eyes, and then Valentine. So maybe nostalgia for
you guys can't let a new movie beat an old movie. That's just not a thing that you guys can allow yourselves to do.
Because old movies are way better. Okay, kill of the show. True. What was that, Brian?
I said that's very true. Old movies are better.
See? We wouldn't have new movies if
we didn't have old movies first.
Exactly.
Oh, okay. That really is a great argument.
Kill of the show. Jason?
Well, I'm going to go with the best movie here and in Valentine, since it's Brian's favorite. I thought the her falling on the glass shards was pretty badass,
that was
though.
Pretty cool.
So,
yeah, that was the best kill of that movie for sure.
I mean, there's a million awesome kills in Hard Eyes and My Bloody. So, like, I knew you guys would take all those. So, I just wanted to shout out to the cool movie Valentine.
Brian?
Well, Jason, I'm going to go with a new movie, so suck it. My favorite kill of the episode was at the beginning of Hard Eyes when the girl gets squished in the wine press.
Oh, damn it. That's mine, too.
Oh.
Yeah. Especially when the eyeball pops out right there.
Yep.
So that's mine. Also, the bride in the wine press. Tad?
That's exactly what I had on my list, too. I mean, that one is just so gnarly. And the dialogue when they show up to look for it and they're sort of making jokes, it's a great kill.
My other actual one was going to be the four-way in the back of the truck in Hard Eyes.
Yeah, that's
two-way,
cool, too.
A two-way with a four-way. It was pretty. Then he pulls her up and you see through it. Yeah, it's, that's
him going
wicked.
at the drive-in is just. I love any scene at a drive-in. So when you throw a slasher in a drive-in, so cool.
All right, there you have it, folks. Those are your Valentine horrors. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to finish off the show with our last two segments. But first, you're going to hear a promo for our podcast network, the Prescribed Films Podcast Network. The PFPN is home to so many great shows like Land of the Creeps. Land of the Creeps is a weekly horror podcast that takes an informative yet entertaining look at old and new horror movies. The crew consists of Greg Mortis, our podcast brother from another podcast, Twisted Temptress, Dave Becker, and Bill Van Vagel. You can check out Land of the Creeps and all the other shows at thepfpn.com. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Prescribed Films Podcast Network, home to hundreds of hours of free podcast entertainment. The shows on this network all have a common goal, providing you with the best discussions about movies and other forms of entertainment media. The PFPN hopes to fill your earholes with audio joy. Visit our website with links to all the other amazing shows at www.thepfpn.com. thepfpn.com. Thanks for listening.
Welcome back, and now it's time to hear from you guys, the listeners. Here's Jason with shout-outs.
It's time for shout-outs! 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 Shout-outs!
All right, we asked, what are your favorite Valentine's horror movies? And these are your answers on our Facebook page. We got attacker Tim Lennerer saying, last year's Hard Eyes was quite good. The rom-com plot threads were played straight, which made the horror parts stand out as well. I predicted several of the plot points because romantic comedies and slasher movies are both very formulaic, and the formula honestly works. The OG, My Bloody Valentine, benefits from its location shoot and cast that look like real people. There's one dude in it who looks like John Candy as a Prussian officer from the Great War. And a pleasantly nasty streak, plus a folk song over the end credits. Thank you, Tim. Next, we got the Reebster. Mike Reeb says, both versions of My Bloody Valentine are great, but the OG is so wonderfully Canadian that it gets top billing. And My Demon Lover, Dead Time Stories, and Carnosaur 3, all starring Scott Valentine. You said Valentine's, didn't say day. Just playing by the rules.
Oh, Reeb.
Oh, Scott Valentine did stuff after Family Ties. Awesome. Good.
And then lastly, we got Nightmare Junkhead saying, definitely not Suri, adding the OG My Bloody Valentine to the list, as I need a sitcom with Hollis and Howard dealing with their shenanigans. And Pontypool is an underrated gem that takes place on Valentine's Day.
Oh, I didn't
remember that was on Valentine's Day, but my God, that movie is brilliant.
It's so fucking
so
good. So good. And I could have swore there was a comment somewhere, somehow, from Sam Lenz, whether it was from Brian talking shit in our personal chat of how Sam Lenz may have cursed this episode or what.
Yeah,
I don't know
feel like it was his fault that we watched Valentine. I was so excited. I thought he left us a voicemail.
Nope. I'm afraid I can't find it. If I find it, I'll put it in, but I don't see one anywhere. But speaking of voicemails, that's right. We do have one, and I will play it right now. Unscreened, so I'm nervous, but all right, here we go.
Hey, everybody, Attacker Bill Fisher here. And I guess we're apparently talking about famous couples in horror movies. And if I'm honest, nothing came to mind. But the more I thought about it, there actually are some pretty great ones. You normally don't think of horror that way, but Sheriff Brody and Ellen, come on, when she's or when he goes, hey, want to get drunk and fool around? I mean, come on, that's perfect. Let's see what else. When Brenda let old Joey in Return of the Living Dead eat her brain, that was awful kind of her. Let's see. Oh, of course, you want to talk about true love. Talk about being able to fight for your life against some enchiladas and still harmonize with your lover outside the door like old Demon and Anita did in Friday 5. But I think my favorite horrific romance has to be the Bubble Boys. I mean, don't get me wrong. Those guys are definitely up to some weird stuff, like driving all the way to Missouri to try to record outside of a brewery bathroom to catch some guy doing some weird stuff, which he definitely never, ever did. And it's really freaking mean of them to say it or even joke about it because that's not funny. But, or, watching movies or taking bubble baths together and laying on bearskin rugs, that's kind of their thing. But they got a great podcast called The Wrong Podcast Died. You should check it out. Anyway. Keep up the good work, guys, and looking forward to the episode. Bye.
Thanks, Bill. Oh, my gosh. And you, too, could leave a voicemail if you would like to. It's easy. Just give us a call at 415-952-6857. That's 415-95-AOTKP. And leave that voicemail, and we'll play it on the show, and that is shout-outs.
Corpses are dead. Candy is sticky. Now here's Insane Mike with a movie that's icky, probably.
What would happen if Rick Sloane, yes, the director of Hobgoblins and the Vice Academy movies, decided to make a serious melodrama about a satanic cult? You get the dumbfounding Mind, Body, and Soul from 1992. The movie stars ex-porn star Ginger Lynn as Brenda, a woman framed for a satanic cult human sacrifice after she unknowingly is brought to the ritual by her evil cultist boyfriend, played by Wings Hauser. She is jailed, beaten, and sexually assaulted. Her only ally is her defense lawyer, who lets her stay at his house, talks her into writing a book about her experiences, tries to help her get her life back on track, but never at any point talks about her case, or do they even go to trial. The movie also stars one of my favorites, John Henry Richardson, or a.k.a. Jay Richardson, from Hollywood Chainsaw Hookers, Alienator, Haunting Fear, and also many of the Vice Academy movies. Ginger and Jay are not the only two Rick Sloane alumni. Terma Clatterbuck and Ken Abraham, a.k.a. Ken Hill, also appear in the film. Ginger Lynn tries her best to earn an Academy Award nomination with her performance. This may be her best acting since her movies Talk Dirty to Me 3 and Between the Cheeks. This film is not as fun as most Rick Sloane films, with films like Hobgoblins, Blood Theater, and the Vice Academy franchise. The low budget and inept writing and direction are often offset with dumb humor, letting you know the movie is aware of its own flaws and is in on the joke. Mind, Body, and Soul, though, plays everything straight, making those Rick Sloanisms all the more awkward. There is a jailer who is secretly part of the cult who just decides to let prisoners out on their own just because he feels like it. Or the fact that an actress who doesn't want to do any nudity, so she has her shower scene with her underwear still on. Or out of nowhere, the forced kiss between Brenda and her random love interest, which shows that neither of them wanted to even touch each other. Typical signature bad Foley sound effects that often appear in Rick Sloane movies also feel even more awkward. Like, for example, there's a scene where the cops, they go and take Brenda's statement about an incident, and then they leave, and the camera stays with Brenda inside the room, and you can hear the police sirens going off in the background as the police are driving away. Why would the police turn on their sirens after leaving the house? They're not in any hurry to go anywhere. They were just there taking her statement anyway. The constant soap opera score that is throughout the entire movie, it never freaking stops and is extremely daunting. Although it is a nice departure than the typical Rick Sloane random audio drops that happen in most of his movies. Is this a good movie? No. Is this a good Rick Sloane movie? No. I'd rather watch Hobgoblins 2. But if you are a Rick Sloane completist or curious about this departure from the typical Rick Sloane flair, then I recommend, no, not really, but check out Mind, Body, and Soul. It is at least better than a root canal.
Yeah, I love Wings Hauser, but the phrase Rick Sloanisms just makes me feel dirty.
I am kind of a Rick Sloane completist because I do.
What, you are the only human being on planet Earth who is
ever uttered that sentence.
Yeah.
But dude, I remember seeing like Vice Academy 1 and 2 on USA Up All Night back in the day, and I enjoyed those movies because, Linnea Quigley, of course. But yeah, they're dumb, but they're meant to be dumb. I mean, he knew what he had to work with, so he just was like, let's just be as stupid as all get out, and none of it makes any sense. But so I still enjoy those movies. And, Hobgoblins, is probably still one of the greatest Mystery Science Theater 3000 films out there.
I mean, yeah, but I don't think I could even watch that movie unmisted.
No, yeah,
that is
not really.
But You saying I am a Rick Sloan completist might be the Rosetta Stone to cracking you open. Like, if you just went to a therapist and said that to them, they'd be like, okay, I'm canceling all of my other clients. I just need to focus on you.
I think I might try to make Rick Sloan my number one watch director
Oh,
on
no.
Letterboxd. All right, that wraps up another romantic, love-filled episode of Attack of the Killer podcast. You can follow us all over the internet. Follow us on X, TikTok, Threads, Facebook, Instagram. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Join us on Discord to continue the conversation.
AOTKP.com/Discord.
If you can, leave us a review wherever you can leave reviews, like Apple Podcast. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you all next time on Attack of the Killer podcast.
Oh no, could this be the end of? Attack of the Killer Podcast.